death ends a body, it does not end consciousness. Grief feels like separation, whereas reconnection reveals continuity. No one is lost. Form changes, but the cycle of life never breaks.
What's the definition of insanity? Ain't it just a difference in reality?
I'm Dr. Toni Reilly. This is the SoulLife Psychology Podcast, where intuition meets logic. We explored recall therapy in the last episode. Now we're talking about reconnection. It's communicating with someone who's died, a loved one, someone in spirit. Let's talk about the circle of life. SoulLife Psychology sits in the heart of living. We have life, grief, and death. Life is a framework. You're born with a blueprint. Life Map shows you that blueprint. Your inherent strengths and default behaviors make sense when you see your blueprint clearly. Life Map explains life. Grief is the gateway to wisdom. Grief bridges the gap between life and death. The pain of grief sends people soul searching. They want answers. Why did this happen to me? What's going on? Why can't I control my emotions? Grief integrates the notion that there is more to life than you realized. And death is the transition home. Continued consciousness explains death. Death is demystified. Therefore, death is no longer feared. Recall weaves them together into a simple truth about who you really are. Let's talk about what happens at death. When the body dies, consciousness detaches. There's a surrender. The soul transitions home. Home is not a location. It's pure collective soul energy. The human condition remains on earth. No ego, no insecurity, no personal narrative. Identity dissolves into awareness. From a human perspective, death looks like an ending. When you see the circle of life clearly, it's a transition within it. The body leaves the circle. Consciousness remains within it. Consciousness is the soul. It's omnipresent, integrated, and it's accessible. What grief processes? When someone dies, what remains on earth is impact. The emotional debris of death belongs to those still living. Guilt, sadness, anger, relief, love. Grief is the human response to the loss of a form. Reconnection recognizes the form has changed. Grief feels like something's been torn away. Reconnection shows you that nothing is torn away. It just changed form. When you see the circle clearly, fear reduces. Loss doesn't disappear, but you understand continuity. Before awareness, death feels final. After awareness, death becomes movement. And that shift can change how you live. Let's talk about signs. Reconnection begins with noticing signs, feathers, birds, music, numbers, dreams, objects shifting. The feeling that a passed over loved one is close. Most people dismiss signs because logic overrides them. But communication is directed. The sign is sent, you interpret it. For example, a feather appears. 10 people walk past it, but you notice it. And you notice because it's meant for you. This is the new language you learn. It's communication when there's no human form. Signs are usually subtle, but they're personal, intended especially for you. When grief blocks connection, acute grief shuts down awareness. Your inner guidance seems to disappear because shock is immense and your emotional field can get really heavy. You become entrenched in the most important human experience. When your focus turns inward, reconnection is much harder to notice. because you're overwhelmed. As your grief settles, you become reachable. You begin to notice the signs that were always there. The connection was never broken. You just couldn't see it. What about dream visitation? That's a visitation dream that feels different. Your loved one appears clearly. It feels real. It's emotionally detailed, grounded. You wake up remembering all the details. You wake up knowing they visited. When the body rests, daily thoughts ease, you're easier to contact. So you blend more easily with the collective consciousness, and in particular, your passed over loved one. You experience them as presence, not as memory. It's as if they're really there. Reconnection with loved ones who've died can be spontaneous or facilitated through meditation, through recall therapy, through guided visualization. When the mind slows, your perception is clearer. You expand beyond any personal attachment. You access collective consciousness, but you don't lose yourself. Your energy field expands to connect with theirs. You are not dependent on anyone else to mediate that experience. You can feel them. You can talk to them. You have the pure experience of visiting your passed over loved one. We're going to talk now about loss that feels unbearable. When death occurs suddenly or by suicide, the shock is devastating for the living. The soul transitions, the devastation remains with those left behind. Reconnection in these cases usually receives one message: release yourself from blame, let go of guilt. Their life ended, their consciousness didn't. Understanding that doesn't take away the pain, but it helps the loss make sense. How about the loss of a child? An infant loss, whether it's abortion, miscarriage, or stillbirth, parents often fear that the child suffered. In recall work, the consistent observation is that the soul detaches from the body at the moment of transition. The soul returns directly home to pure collective consciousness. The trauma impacts the parents and it lasts long after the loss occurs. Emotional turmoil is a critical element of the human experience, and reconnection with a child often arrives through dreams, through a deep internal knowing that their body was here briefly, their consciousness is not gone. The circle of life is in constant motion: birth, grief, death, and consciousness. The circle turns. A soul enters a body, a life begins, relationships form, love grows, life unfolds, the body ends, the soul returns to collective consciousness. When you understand this, death no longer feels final. Life becomes intentional, love becomes less fearful, and letting go is possible. Death isn't the opposite of life. It's part of the cycle. The body ends, it dies. Consciousness expands. Grief opens you to deeper awareness, and reconnection reveals continuity, and it allows you to visit. Birth, grief, death. The cycle turns through every human life. Nothing is lost. Form changes. The circle never breaks. This is SoulLife Psychology. If you have questions or you want to share a story, use the form in the show notes. Thank you for being here. Please do me a favor and subscribe or follow it to help this work reach more people. Join me in the next episode when we explore grief and loss, because understanding death changes how grief is experienced. Awareness is the ultimate activism.
What's the definition of insanity? Ain't it just yeah.